As you can see there, these are those which we will tackle this morning. So before we proceed, I'd like to ask some of you, based on your reading, which of the concepts do you like most, or a concept that you think is non-negotiable in your practice as a teacher in the future? So let's go back to these frameworks. Again, based on your reading, which of the concepts do you like the most, or a concept that you think is non-negotiable, okay, in your practice as a teacher in the future? So I'll be waiting for your answer at the comment section. Maybe I'll give you 2 minutes so that all of you could answer the question. So, hindi pa familiar? Maybe we can be honest that most of you, or if not all, are not yet that familiar to these theories, principles, and frameworks. Sige, let's just continue. Meron nang nag-answer. Siguro delayed lang yung comment box ko. What I like the most is the visual principle. That is also a good choice. Bloom's digital taxonomy is an updated taxonomy, the cognitive domain. That's also a good choice. Maraming nagsasabing visual principles. Okay? Merrill principles. Sige, go. That's for parang mga suggestions for a better and successful teaching. Alright, so okay, let's proceed. The first theory which we will talk about is the Dale's Cone of Experience. Another activity. I'd like you to share a lesson from your past subjects, either elementary, high school, or college, that you can still vividly remember today. Okay? Again, just a lesson. Anong lesson yon? Is it about grammar? Is it about the different, let's say, cell, for example? The different parts of the human body, whatever lesson that you can still remember, kindly share it to the comment section. And what did your teacher do para na hindi mo nakalimutan yung lesson na yon? Anong ginawa ni teacher na hindi mo nakalimutan yung lesson? Sige nga. Sige, I'll be waiting for your responses again. Okay, so let's proceed with our lesson. The lesson which we will first discuss is the cone of learning. Is it visible? Can you see it? Yan. So for sure, this is more visible than kanina. Okay, so what you can see is what we call the cone of learning. It is composed of different theories and principles in teaching. Okay? So combination siya ng or harmonization siya ng different theories and principles in teaching. And yung kanyang core is what we call the cone of experience. Okay? If you can see a triangle there, it's supposed to be a cone, but because of the visuals, it's a triangle. Pero that's what we call the cone of experience, and that's the core of the cone of learning. So let's start from the left, from your left. Okay? Makikita nyo dyan, active and passive. So what's the difference between active and passive? Sino yung tinutukoy na active? Sino yung tinutukoy na passive? We are of course referring to our students. Okay? And when we say active or passive, we are referring to their involvement in the classroom. Are they having an active involvement in the classroom or passive involvement in the classroom? Paano masasabi kung active yung involvement ni student? How can we say that a student is also having an involvement that is passive? So kapag si student is just merely receiving inputs from the teacher, that's what we call passive. Okay? The student is doing nothing but receiving something from the teacher, either through visuals or through hearing, di ba? Kapag nagdi-discuss si teacher, gumagamit siya ng PowerPoint, but the student is merely sitting down, that is what we call passive. Unfortunately, the setup that we are doing right now is passive. You are behind your screen, di ba? You are facing your screen, doing nothing, receiving inputs from the teacher. Pero, paano nagiging active? Nagiging active if there is already the involvement of the student. The student is already part of the teaching and learning process. If you are answering to my questions, if you are actively participating, even by just saying I Captain, or commenting answers to my questions, then it is becoming active. Okay? So, mapapansin nyo that beside active and passive, we have the so-called retention rate. Okay? So, it says there, 10% of what they read, mariretain 10% yung kanilang nababasa, 20% of what they hear, 50% of what they see and hear, 70% of what they say and write, and then 90% of what they do as they perform a task. So kung mapapansin nyo, yung naka-green na color, mga passive ito silang activities. Reading, that's passive. Hearing, that's passive. And listening while watching is also passive. And kung mapapansin nyo, it has lesser retention rate. Okay? Have you noticed when the teacher is discussing and then after next period, nakakalimutan nyo na yung diniscuss ni teacher? Is that familiar? Okay? But if the teacher is using both PowerPoint presentation or visual materials, meron siyang mga visuals, meron siyang mga illustrations while discussing, 50% yung mariretain. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na reinforcement. That's why visual materials are really very important. Okay? Pero, if the student will do something about the concept, hindi ka lang nag-discuss, hindi ka lang nagpakita ng mga visuals, you also ask your two students to do something, then nagiging 70% or nagiging 90% siya depending on the activities you have provided them. Okay? Example. Let's not go too far. Let's talk about the lesson on the theories and principles in using this topic. Ano yung topic? Theories and principles in the use and design of technology-driven learning lessons. Ito yung topic, okay? This is the reference of our discussion right now. Theories and principles in the use and design of technology-driven learning lessons. Now, I ask you to read, di ba? I ask you to read. That's 10%. I'm expecting that you will retain information just 10%. Okay? So in the for the online learners, I provided several reading tasks. Tapos for the offline learners naman, or for the self-paced learners, I provided them with mga reading materials via the files that I shared to them. Okay? Tapos, that's actually reading. And according to this framework, I should expect 10% lang ng inyong retention. Okay? Now, I want that to improve. I want you to retain more. That's the reason why we are doing this right now. You are listening to me while looking into a visual. That's why I expect that you will have 50% retention rate after this session. Diba? This is about reinforcement kasi. Right? You just don't leave your students with reading tasks. You just don't leave your students with discussion. There must be something else para merong retention. I hope you agree with me. Right? Okay. Now, after this discussion, meron kayong final requirement. And this is also the same for the BE Ed students. Diba? You were provided by your teachers assignment or the requirement. And the requirement is for you to come up with a lesson plan. Diba? Now, in coming up with your lesson plan, there is a direct application of this lesson in constructing your lesson plan and in constructing your instructional material. So, I expect that you will have 90% retention rate kasi lahat, I have provided you with enough reinforcement eh. So 90% na. And this is very important, most especially if you are going to take the LET exam, diba? You may forget it in some parts, pero if the question is provided to you, mariremember mo siya. Why? Because the teacher has provided you with enough reinforcement following the notion that meron tayong mga retention rate. 10% reading, so I should not expect too much. So, if your teacher asks you to read something, tapos nagpa-quiz siya at the end, tapos bumagsak kayong lahat, it's not your problem. It's not your fault. It's the teacher's fault. Why? Kasi kulang yung reading for the students to retain information. Are you getting my point? Am I making sense? Okay. So, yun. If you become teachers, this is very important. Okay? Provide students with active involvement in the class. Provide students with activities wherein they will be part of the teaching and learning process. Gone are those days na si student passively receiving information lang. Students will be bored and malilibak kahit imo mga students. Pangaranan ka hindi nalaano, kay boring ka man. 'Di ba? You are not effective for the students that we have right now. Our students are easily bored. Okay? According to studies, mas maiha pa ang attention rate han mga goldfish compared to our Generation Z students. So, yun. We need to provide them with something that is active. And make sure to provide reinforcements. Do not just leave them with reading materials. Do not just leave them with discussions. Okay? Provide them with applications of the concepts. That's why medyo I'm not really leaning towards modules kasi modules are more of reading only. And the assessment sometimes is not enough for the students to receive, enough experience with the concept. Alright? So let's proceed to the next, learning outcomes. Okay. Sino yung familiar sa Bloom's taxonomy? Sige nga, particularly to the cognitive domain. We are referring to the cognitive domain. Anyone? Diba? We have remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. It's a big sin. Dako iton nga sala if an education student is not able to memorize even just the cognitive domain. Okay? So in my principles of teaching before, no one from my student could get in my classroom without memorizing by mind and by heart the different domains, particularly the cognitive domain. So remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So this is reflective to the learning outcomes that you can see on the third row. Define, describe, list, explain, demonstrate, apply, practice, analyze, design, evaluate, create. Now, when we say remembering, that's just a simple recall. And if it is a simple recall, 10% lang daw yung kanyang retention rate. And of course, it is a passive activity. Okay? I'm not sure if you have observed na merong mga teachers na nagpapa-exam that requires you to memorize. Diba? Enumerate, memorize, and so on and so forth. And after the exam, nakakalimutan nyo na agad. Why? Because that's the lowest level of cognitive functioning. Okay? That's the lowest level of thinking. That's remembering. So, kapag nagre-recall ka lang, if you are just remembering things, iba kasi yung remembering and understanding eh. You can remember, but it does not warrant that you understand what you remember. Pwede ka lang na-memorize mo. For example, ano yung report? You memorized it, but you did not understand it. That's why you are very fluent in reporting, but when the questions coming from the teacher, you were not able to answer anymore. Why? Kasi that's just the lowest level of thinking. There was no understanding at all. Diba? Kasi if you are able to understand it, you can say it on your own words. You can translate that. You can explain it. Okay? Pero iba pa rin kapag ina-apply mo, if there is an opportunity for you to analyze, evaluate, and of course, create. So, kapag sinabing apply, putting it in another context. Putting it in another context. Okay? Analyzing naman, you go deeper to the concept. Evaluate naman, you judge. Diba? And of course, from the word itself, create, you will create something out of the concept that, your class is processing. Okay. So again, it is very important for you to be knowledgeable with the different domains of learning. That is your foundation. That is your ground to make sure that your lessons are very effective. Okay? So they are saying that we need to begin with the end in mind. That's why it's very important for us to know how to write correct outcomes. We call it outcomes now kasi we are already into outcomes-based education. Seldom are we using objectives anymore, so we are more of outcomes-based education. Okay? So yan yung mga outcomes, diba? Define, describe, demonstrate, yon. Now let's proceed to the core of the cone of learning. We call it the cone of experience. Okay? Are we ready? Are you still there? Okay, I hope you are still listening because this is very important. Let's start with the top. By the way, this is arranged according to the level of abstractness. Meaning, yung nasa top, yung pinakataas, that's the most abstract. Yung pinakababa naman, that's the most concrete. Okay? So, sa verbal symbols, ano yung verbal symbols? How is it different from visual symbols? When we say verbal symbols, ito yung nababasa at naririnig nyo. Symbols, ano yung symbols na rini-refer dito? The text and the speech sounds. Text or numbers, di ba? When you read, you are decoding something. Decoding the meaning of the combination of the letters. Right? So that's reading. If you are provided with reading materials, or if you are asked by your teacher to listen, what is being presented to you is what we call verbal symbols. Verbal, either reading or listening. Okay? And madali lang siyang makalimutan. If your teacher provided you with mga reading materials without the teacher processing it, 'di ba? Same stories lang actually. Kasi of course, connected yung mga theories and principles na to. How is this different from visual symbols? Yung nakikita niyo sa screen, that is actually an example of a visual symbol. It is a visual symbol. Bakit? It is organized. Bakit visual? Kasi naka-organize na yung mga concepts. Okay? Bakit mas mataas yung kanyang retention rate? It is simply because you will see connections between concepts. You will see relationships between concepts. You see, when I was in college, when I study, okay, if I use verbal symbols, it will take me 50 pages, for example. Mga behaviorism, the different theories under the behaviorism, if you can still remember that. Di ba damo-damo ito niya nga page, sugaron ta mga 20 pages. Okay? If yung 20 pages yung rini-refer natin, that's verbal symbol. Pero, if I create a graphic organizer, okay, put them together, so ang 20 to 30 pages, nahihimo lahi ang one page. That is visual symbol. And mas madali iya hinumduman kasi napipicture mo ang mga concept. You can see the bird's eye view of the concepts. Okay? Same goes with this material. Don't you know that, di ba, to my BSN students, I have provided you with the book about the visual principles. The visual principles is composed of, let's say, 53 pages, if I am not mistaken. Mga 50 plus pages adto nga mga nakanan visual principles. And if we use visual symbol, isang page lang siya, naka-organize siya. Okay? Similar to this topic, meron tayong isang material put together, organized. This is visual symbol. Pero kung verbal symbol yung ibinigay, I'm not sure kung how many pages yung ibibigay ni teacher. Di ba? So, it is easier to remember kasi you will see connection between concepts. So, that's the difference between verbal and visual symbols. How about recordings, radio, still pictures, motion pictures? Anong pinagkaiba nito sa motion pictures? Of course, from the word itself, yung recordings, radio, still pictures, it tends to a single sense, either hearing or seeing or visual, di ba? So isang sense lang. And if we try to compare it to motion pictures, of course, si still pictures, from the word itself, it's not moving, right? And si motion pictures naman, from the word itself, motion, it is moving. Pero, ano yung pinagkaiba ng television and motion pictures? In the entertainment industry, when we say motion pictures kasi, parang television din siya. Kasi when we say video, it's actually a motion pictures arranged in different frames. Right? Kung if-frame by frame mo siya, those are actually pictures. But they are put together, that's why meron tayong motion pictures. Diba? Pero ano yung pinagkaiba ng motion pictures and television? Simple lang. Si motion picture, walang audio, walang sound. Si television, meron na siyang audio. That's why, example niya is yung mga documentaries, di ba? Mga tutorials sa YouTube, that's television. Television lang yung nakalagay dyan, but we are actually referring to videos. Mga academic videos or educational videos. Si motion pictures naman, example niya yung mga GIF, okay, or in other pronunciation, that's GIF or GIF, di ba? Yung mga parang cartoons na nagmo-move, or if you are a science major, merong globe na nagte-turn, or planets, di ba, na nagmo-move. So, those are example of motion pictures. Wala silang sound, the pictures are moving. Pero sa television, there is multimedia na siya, meron tayong moving picture and sounds or audio. Alright? And kung mapapansin natin, 50% yung kanyang retention rate. If we ask our students to watch mga film showing, di ba, sa mga English major, sa mga BEL, even sa mga values, There are a lot of lessons in your specialization na magandang magpa-film showing. Sa values, di ba? Yung mga emotional na mga videos for analysis, pwede yan. For English majors naman, mga literature, right? Sa BE-Ed naman, mga fairy tales and so on. So, meron siyang 50% retention rate according to this framework. I am saying according to this framework because it may not be similar to the other frameworks, to different frameworks. Now, how about exhibits? What is an exhibit? When we say exhibit, that is for your eyes only. Okay? Exhibits for your eyes only. While field trips, there is an experience. You go to a field and you experience it. Okay? Pero, when we say exhibits, these are collections of pictures, artifacts, and, collection of concepts. They are put together, displayed, and yon. So the students that will have 70% retention. Pero bakit 70% si exhibit na the students are just watching it? The students are just observing these models, these mga, what do you call this, mga items, let's say in a museum. It's because the students are able to see connections. For example, if you will go to a science museum, meron ditong mga bones ng mga mammals. Parang compilation siya or collection siya ng mga bones ng mga mammals. So the student is able to compare yung kanyang within the category. Ito pala, kahit pala nasa ocean, pwedeng maging mammal kasi nasa collection siya ng mga mammals eh. Di ba? The students are able to think, the students are able to understand just by looking the other displays in the collection. That's why nakakatulong siyang maintindihan yung concept. That's what we call exhibit. But that is limited na for your eyes only. How about field trips? Okay? When we say field trips, you are going out, experiencing the field. That's why it's called field trip. There is this school na pumunta sa Wawawin. Pumunta yung school sa Wawawin. Meron silang tarp na nakita sa TV saying, let's say, blank, blank, blank university. Tapos, field trip yung nakalagay sa baba. Do you think that they're visiting the Wawawin studio is called a field trip? Field trip ba siya? Magiging field trip ba na pumunta ka sa Wawawin or sa Showtime studio tapos meron kang patarpulin na educational field trip or a field trip? Okay? So the answer to that is it will depend. Right? So it will depend kung ano yung subject. If you are an education student tapos saan to kahawawawin, it's something wrong, di ba? Kasi what is connection of your field to the studio, to Showtime, or to Wawawin, right? Pero, if you are BE communication students, pwede. That may be considered a field trip. If you are an education student, asan yung field trip mo? Your field trip, sadly, sa mga schools. Okay? Pero kung nag-take ka ng biology, pwede kayong mag-study ng mga, marine, let's say, yung mga living organism or marine biology sa Boracay. Pwede nyo din i-test yung water sa mga, what you call this, mga falls, di ba? Pwede sila sa mga nature na mga field trips. Pasok pa din sa field trip. Pero tayong mga education-related field, we are limited to going to, schools kasi yan yung ating field. So, simply put, when we say field trip, it's a trip about our field. If you are an accounting student, expect to go to banks and other economic establishments. Diba? If you are a tourism student, then expect for you to visit different tourist spots as a student. Yan yung field trip nyo. Okay? So, yun. How about demonstration? What do you mean by demonstration? Remember that we are already in the blue area. We are already in the active area. Sa exhibit, though they are just watching, it is active kasi pumupunta sila sa exhibit. Okay? They go there, they visit. Field trip din, they visit and experience. Again, sa exhibit, they visit and watch. Field trip, they visit and experience. How about demonstrate? Demonstration. Demonstration is you are doing it, you are doing the concept, pero meron kang guide, meron kang model. For example, baking, di ba? If you know how to bake, let's say a chiffon cake, merong magtuturo sa'yo ng step-by-step process. Okay? So that's demonstration. Step-by-step process. So kada step, may dahay mo mag-guide. That's demonstration. Driving lesson, may dalaan yung magpapakita ha iyo kung ginaano, tapos you will do it afterwards. That's demonstration. It's not really direct purposeful experience kasi you are just merely copying. You are just merely imitating the model. Pero, because you are doing it yourself, okay, mataas pa rin yung kanyang retention rate. How about dramatized experiences? How about dramatized experiences? When we see dramatized experiences, the students are involved in, for example, mga role play, di ba? So, the students are characterizing someone. That's dramatized experiences. And higher yung retention rate niya because you can never characterize someone effectively without knowing who that someone really is. Right? If you are assigned to be Rizal in a play, you can never be Rizal if you don't know who Rizal is. Bangin ka magkiniay-kiay tapos si Rizal ang imo character, or Lapu-Lapu for example, bangin ka magpinaso-paso tapos si Lapu-Lapu ang imo character, right? Characterization is important and it requires you to know deeply who the character is before you could act the character. All right? So that's dramatized experiences. We are down to the two last na mga experiences. We have contrived experiences and direct purposeful experiences. So ano yung pinagkaiba? Both activities are students are involved. The students in both of these are doing something. Okay? But it depends on what they are interacting with. What do you mean by that? They differ in what they are interacting with. Sa contrived experiences, they are experiencing the concept by using mga what do you call this? Mga models, mga representations. Okay? Mga realia and so on. But direct purposeful experience, you are experiencing the real thing. You are experiencing the real concept in its actual application. For example, sa contrived experiences, if you are a nurse, if you are a nursing student, iyo gini-studyhan bagat mannequin lang. Diba? You try to look into the digestive system of a person, pero yung ginagamit ng mga student is parang model lang siya, parang plastic. Okay? Pero if you are taking medicine, magdo-doktor ka, yung ginagamit na material, yung ginagamit pag-analyze sa digestive system ng tao is a cadaver. It's a real dead body. You open it, hihiwaon mo, and so on. So yun, experiences will really be different. Right? So, bakit tayo may contrived experiences? We have this notion that we provide our student with as much as possible direct purposeful experiences. Tama? Pero, sadly, not all concepts, not all topics, compatible siya sa direct purposeful experiences. We have contrived experiences because of the limitations of direct purposeful experiences. Example, you wish your students to be provided with direct purposeful experiences about the solar system. Kaya? The answer is no. Not unless mag-astronaut its student, di ba? Hapinuloso pula. Right? Pwede hiya, contrived experiences lang. Magamit kitan model, papagution natin ang solar system para maintindihan ng students how the solar system looks like. Diba? That's why we have what we call the planetarium or the solarium, sorry. Right? So yun, gumagamit tayo ng models. Another example is we study the different layers of the earth. Diba? Different layers of the earth. So it's not possible because we are living on it. We are just, a piece of sand as compared to the size of the earth. So kailangan natin siya pagutiayon. That's why we have globe. Diba? For us to know, to see how the earth looks like. That's contrived experiences. Okay? Another reason why we have contrived experiences is sometimes delikado. Going back again to science teaching, if you wish your students to be provided with direct purposeful experiences about tsunami, you can never do that. Okay? Dili ka pwede sumiri nga, okay class, there was an earthquake in Bacola that happened in Eastern Samar. So let's go there, let's go to Borongan City, bring with you meter stick, and we will measure the height of the tsunami. Good luck. Ambot kung piret mabilin na iyo. Diba? So yun, you can never do that, but you can do that sa contrived experiences by providing your students with simulations. Nakakita na kamo ng aquarium nga may mga wave nga ginihimo. So that's an example of a contrived experience. Or even a typhoon. May the electric fan, signal number 1 giha pa electric fan, signal number 2 giha pa electric fan, di ba? So yun, those are simulations and it is part of contrived experiences. Okay? So I hope you are able to get that. Let us try to review all in the cone of experience. Verbal symbol, that is, your teacher is providing you with reading material or the teacher is discussing something to you. Visual symbols, the teacher is providing you with graphic organizers. Recording, radio still pictures, the teacher is providing you with either of them, recording, radio, or still pictures. You are asked by your teacher to listen or to view a picture. Motion picture naman, it is a moving picture but no audio. Television, there is an audio. Example to that is mga documentaries and educational videos. Exhibits, the students are going out to view something. Field trips, the students are going out to experience something. Demonstration, the students are copying the model. Dramatized experiences, the students are characterizing. Contrived experiences, the students are using representations to experience the concept. Direct purposeful experience, the students are experiencing the real thing in its actual application. That's direct purposeful experiences. Okay? So I hope you are able to get that. Now, those are examples of learning activities, but let us try to proceed first to the Brunner's different representation, models of representations. So meron tayong inactive, iconic, and symbolic. Again, inactive, iconic, and symbolic. Okay, when we say inactive, we are providing the students with the real thing, with the real experience. Diba? From the word enact. When we say iconic naman, from the word icon, we provide the students with representations. Symbolic naman, we provide the students with symbols such as letters, texts, numbers. So, for example, if you are if you are teaching sa mga BE Ed, if you are teaching basic operations in mathematics, meron, let's start with addition. Okay? So, mapapansin nyo, sa mga elementary teachers, they are buying mga popsicle sticks. Okay? They are buying popsicle sticks or straw or mga pebbles or mga bato or whatever. Diba? Mastering ito teacher. Okay, class, I have here one popsicle stick. I will give it to you. And I will get another one popsicle stick and I will give it to you again. How many popsicle sticks do you have now? Diba? So itong concept na they are playing popsicle sticks to experience or to study addition, that's inactive. Okay? So yon. Iconic naman, magdodrawing yung teacher in mga star. I have here one star, nagdodrawing yung teacher at chalkboard in star. I have one star, another star. How many stars do I have now? So, 2 stars, masaring ang bata. Okay? Symbolic naman, magamit na kitahan mga symbols, mga basic operation symbols and numbers. Say for instance, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, di ba? So, yun. Those are the differences when it comes to the representations. So, in active, you provide them with real experience with the real object. Iconic naman, you provide them with visuals. Symbolic naman, you provide them with text or symbols. Are you able to get that? English, for instance. You are teaching your students terms such as an apple. Okay? You are teaching your students an apple. So, in active, you will give your student, Teriko ka man, you will give your students, each of your students, an apple. Okay? So, mastering ka naman. Class, what you are eating right now is an apple. A-P-P-L-E, apple. Can you say it with me? Apple. So, anong ginamit mong representation? Inactive representation. Now, iconic naman, class. I have here a picture. What can you see in the picture? Yes, very good. It's a fruit. What kind of fruit? Have you eaten this fruit before? Okay, what you see in the picture is an apple. Diba? So that is iconic. Pero sumeri nga ni kita nga symbolic, may the word nga apple, tapos may dahiya, definition, apple is a blah, 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 blah. Its scientific name is blah, blah, blah. It thrives best in areas that are blah, blah, blah. So, that's symbolic. Now, you try to reflect. If you are a teacher, ano sa tingin niyo it must best para haira? You provide them with inactive, you provide them with iconic, or you provide them with symbolic? The answer is, diri always dapat inactive. Diri always dapat direct purposeful. Diri dapat always active. Okay? We provide our students with varied experiences. You let them experience drama. You let them experience exhibit. You let them experience graphic organizers for holistic learning. Now, what are our other realizations? Some teachers, sadly, some teachers are not effective simply because they do not know this cone of learning. Do you agree? This is what separates us from the other teachers. This is what separates us from those who are teaching no waray mag-education. These kinds of framework. Because what we do in the classroom have studies, have theories, which could back us up to make our instruction more effective. That's why I'm saying some teachers are not effective simply because they do not know what we are talking right now. Another realization could be letting students do something is more effective. Diba? It's not anymore teachers as sage on the stage, but teachers are guide at the side. Gumawas ba ya ito, Halet? Okay? Nag-proctor ako once, but of course, I should not do it. But since I'd like to test my knowledge about Prof Ed, so I answered all the Prof Ed subjects while proctoring. So one of the questions there was, teachers daw are supposed to be the guide at the side. What does this imply? Tapos an answer nga to is student-centered approach. Okay? Active hiya dapat. Right? So yun. Another realization should be, the more senses are involved, the more the students will retain information. Okay? Letting them read, letting them listen to your discussion may not be enough for our students. And another one is, real life experiences with the concept assures learning, effective learning. So, real experiences with the concept assures effective learning. Diba? So, yun. Let us remember that our lesson will always depend on the outcomes. And when we create our lesson plan, this is a very good reference. Okay? So, did you learn something from the cone of learning? Nakaintindi na pa kabo ng cone of learning?
Ay, Captain.
Okay, good. So, I hope you really did understand this kasi this is really very important. Okay? So, let me try to answer some of the questions that your EdTech teachers gave. So how is the cone of experience related to Bloom's taxonomy? So parallel siya. If you have remembering na outcomes, you will use visual symbol. Let's go back to the verbal symbol there. I mean verbal symbol. Let's say define noun. Okay? So kung imong objective or your outcome is to define now, that's the lowest level, that's recall, that's what we call remembering. Therefore, yung parallel na experience na ibibigay natin, according to the cone of experience, is verbal symbol. You provide them with parang material about noun. So yun, parallel siya. They are both references, of course, they are both references for effective instruction. Yeah, so we are able to answer that. How are field trips different from exhibits? Both of them go to somewhere, but exhibit, you visit and observe, you visit and watch. Field trip, you visit and experience. Remember, it should be a trip about your field. That's field trip. Why is there a need to have contrived experiences? Simply because of limitations. Limitations ng direct purposeful experience. Limitation of size. Sometimes napakalaki ng concept. That's why it's impossible for us to do direct purposeful experience. Sometimes naman napakaliliit nila. For example, atoms. For example, cell. That's why we have these models, right? Contrived experiences. And of course, sometimes it's dangerous for our students to do direct purposeful experience. That's why we provide them with simulations that are provided using contrived experiences. Okay? So I think we are done with Dale's cone of experience. Isa pa lang yun, we still have so many more to talk about. Dale's cone of experience, isang oras na, di ba? Okay, but are you still with me? Will you still be with me all throughout the different topics, the different models? All right, thank you so much. So we'll proceed to the next one. So the next one is the visual principles. So maraming nagpili ng visual principles when I asked kanina kung anong concept ang best para sa inyo. So let's have an activity first. Based on your experience, what subject do you usually encounter Manila paper instructional materials? Yon. Anong subject? Okay. Araling panlipunan talaga, di ba? Ang mga damo-damuan ng mga history, mga dates, mga bayani, right? So yun, TLA, mga RCA, I can still remember the different scientific name of root crops. So naka-Manila paper yung teacher namin and we are asked to copy the instructional material. Tapos we will see all over the wall mga Manila paper na, na-cover na nga tanan Manila paper. Okay, in connection to that, we will talk about visual principles. Of course, this is coming from Robert Heinrich. So, why do we need to talk about the visual principles? By the way, I just would like to inform you that visual principles is supposedly for traditional instructional material, but it can still be applied for technology-based na mga materials. Most especially if we will create materials such as PowerPoint presentation, some of the concepts here may still be applicable, but originally, this is for traditional material. And to tell you, TTL1, hindi talaga dapat included si visual principle sa TTL1 kasi TTL would be focusing more on technology-based na mga materials. However, looking into the context of teaching in our region, there are so many teachers who are assigned to far-flung areas with no opportunity to use these technologies, projector, laptop. They don't have that and they are not provided by the Department of Education. Walang electricity din sa kanilang school assignment. So that's why it is also best for LNU students to be prepared in using in preparing or constructing materials that are traditional. I'm referring to Manila paper, okay? Or cartolina or even the chalkboard that you have. Okay, so in the process of visual design, we will focus on 3 elements. So the first one is the elements on visual or visual elements, arrangement, and of course, pattern. So what can you see now? What experience is this again? Can you still remember from the cone of experience? Ano inhiya nga type of experience? Di ba I have given this as an example kanina? Mga 54 pages, di ba? Pero isang page na lang. Okay, very good. That's what we call visual symbol. Naka-graphic organizer siya. And we will see here the connection of the different concepts, right? So you will see their visual design element, visual design pattern, and then visual design arrangement. And naka-color coding siya para mas madali niyong maintindihan, mas madali niyong ma-differentiate. So yung blue, yung color, visual design elements yung blue, visual design pattern naman yung green, and then yung orange is visual design arrangement. Okay? So let's go through this one by one. The first is the visual design elements. So we will study or we will explore realistic, analogic, and organizational. Okay. What can you see in the visual or in the picture? So this, in your left, you will see abstract, and to your right, you will see realistic. Okay, so according to the visual principle, it is best to provide your students with pictures rather than drawings. Okay, Hanuna, in the previous generation, teachers are required to be good in drawing kasi most of them would illustrate something on the board. May it be apples, may it be things, may it be animals, vegetables. So dapat ready si teacher mag-visualize sa kanyang chalkboard. However, If we will try to subscribe ourselves to visual principles of Heinrich, he is saying that instead of drawing, why not provide them with pictures? Why pictures? Because it is closer to the reality. And mas madali yan mag-take pictures than to draw. Drawing takes so much effort. Taking picture just requires you to, take a snapshot and you're good. Di ba? Tapos, i-bluetooth nimo or imo mismo phone, imo i-share ha screen, then you have your picture of an apple. So, mas madali hiya and mas effective if we provide our students with pictures. And when we had a convention with the Microsoft Innovative Educators worldwide, the trend in the 21st century in coming up with instructional materials is that there is maximization, mini-maximize yung partnership between a picture and a word. Okay? So more on pictures na yung 21st century visual materials. Okay? That's why nung hindi pa pandemic, sa TTL ko na subject before, I would usually teach my students photography and mobile photography. Kasi kailangan siya in creating instructional materials. But because I have to lessen the number of topics, hindi ko na siya in-include in our course. But you can still try to watch video tutorials, YouTube tutorials about mobile photography. It will really help you out as a teacher. And you don't need to buy mga DSLR cameras. The cameras that we have with our phones right now are already impressive. Okay? Next, analogic visuals. From the word analogy. Okay? So if the picture or if the concept is something na walang first-hand experience yung bata, we need to pair it with something that they know. Okay? That's analogic visuals. Even sa visual aid, kailangan din mag-provide yung teacher ng analogy. The analogy will help the students understand better kasi kino-compare siya sa something na may experience yung bata. Example, the layers of the earth, it's very difficult for us to comprehend yung layers of the earth even though meron na tayong visuals. So kailangan pa niya ng reinforcement. That's why we need an analogy. So we may use an apple, we may use egg to visualize the layers of the earth kasi mas may experience tayo sa egg kaysa sa visuals na makikita lang natin about the earth. That's why analogic visuals are also very important. Next, organizational. Organizational is just the same with the visual symbol. Okay? It will help the students come up with connections between the different concepts. Okay? We are able to understand the relationship of concepts and we see the whole picture of the concept. Tapos na-organize kasi yung mga concept. Next, verbal design elements. So we will look closer sa letter style, number style, capitals, the colors, and the size. Okay, so the letter style, so you can see there different font styles. If you are writing your Manila paper or your cartolina or on a chalkboard, make sure to write in a consistent manner. Okay? Dapat consistent ang imo kasurat. Dire kay pagka di nakaubos, good ti ang letters, nakadton giigbawi, pinakaigbaw dagko pa ang letters. Pag ti ka di nakaubos, good ti na ang letters. Or from the left, maupay patadong pa, pero nati ka di na right, nati ka ubos na or nati pa bahiwi na. So, we need to be consistent with our letters. If we are using PowerPoint, what font are we going to use? It should be according to the topic. Okay? If the topic is something formal, then use formal na mga font styles. If your topic is like about art, about literature, about kids literature or children's lit, maybe you can add fonts that are fun, that are parang creative or unusual, pwede yan. So it will depend on your topic. Next, number of lettering styles. This is according to Heinich, okay? According to Heinich, no more than 2 styles and you are allowed to have a maximum of 4 variations. So you are allowed to have only a maximum of 2 font styles, but you are allowed to have 4 variations. Ano yung variations? Ito yung underlined, naka-italize, naka-bold, naka-highlight. Those are examples of variations for purposes of highlighting it. Okay? Or emphasizing the text. So again, the number of lettering style is not more than 2 font style kasi magiging magulo na yung font style mo or yung text mo, and you are only allowed to have a maximum of 4 variations. Okay? Medyo stricto si Heinich, di ba? But this is according to his principles. Next, wake up. These are important. So we are referring to the number of words allowed to be capitalized. So makakakita tayo ng mga headings. Usually sa headings, default natin na kinakapitalize lahat. Diba? But according to Heinich, if your heading is more than 3 words, hindi na siya dapat i-capitalize. Okay? First letter lang yung word, yung i-capitalize, except for prepositions. In, on, at. So, yun. But if you have a heading that is within the 3 words lang, pwede siyang i-capitalize lahat. For example, I love you, 3 words lang naman siya. So, pwedeng capital letters yung I love you. Right? Pero I love you so much, hindi na pwede siyang i-capitalize. That's according to Heinich. Okay? Yun. Color of lettering, this is just, common sense. We use figure ground contrast. If the letter is bright or light, the background should be dark, or vice versa. If the background is light, the text should be dark. Okay, this one. We are now referring to the size of the lettering. We are referring to the font size. What is our font size? What are the bases of our font size? Are we going to focus on the numbers that are provided in PowerPoint? Diba may 12, 24, 60, 84. Okay? Or will it be according to the distance of the projector or the size of the television? So the answer to that is it should be adjusted according to the length of the classroom. The measurement of the classroom from the chalkboard to the back wall. Diba? And in the Philippines, usually teachers are asked to write instructional materials with 1.5 inches na font style. Why is that? Because the classroom or the classroom size in the Department of Education is usually 30 feet. The rule of the thumb given by Heinich is that every 10 feet is equal to 0.5 inch of your font style. So if you have 30 feet na font na measurement sa inyong classroom, your font size should be 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches kasi 30 feet. 0.5 times 3, di ba? 1.5. So that will be the same when you are having a talk, for example, in a gymnasium. Imagine kung ano kadako imo text. Di ba? Again, it will not be according to the distance of your projector or the size of your TV or the font size number in your application, it should be according to the measurement of the room. Okay? So let's proceed. Okay, spacing between letters. What I'm referring to is between L and A, between A and B, between B and W, from the visuals that you can see right now in the word lab work. So in between letters, ano dapat its size? According to Heinrich, there is no particular size or specific number or measurement sa size or sa length ng spaces between letters. We just use optical spacing. That's based on our own judgment na lang daw kasi nag-iiba-iba yung size or length ng letters. Ba yung letter I sa size ng letter W, di ba? So yung iba, it takes a wider space than the other letters. That's why, according to Heinrich, we will just use optical spacing. Next, spacing between between lines. So a title to show, that's one line. Of the poor, that's another line. So according to Heinrich, the rule is you multiply the size of the letter by 1.5. So if the size of the letter, of the font size is 1 inch, 1 inch times 1.5, yan yung space between lines. So 1.5 times the letter height. That's according to Heinrich. Pero some teachers would not follow this anymore kasi it's taking up space. So they are leaning towards more on practicality rather than following Heinrich. But of course, these are just suggestions of Heinrich. These are not law. These are just principles. Okay? Let's proceed to the elements. So the first element is what we call the surprise element. So the surprise element should be an attention grabber. So you grab the attention of the learners by means of being creative with your text, putting or writing the text in an unusual manner. So it will depend on your creativity. So the next one is texture. So there is a three-dimensional element in the visual. So for example, if you are talking about clouds, so ibubutang mo nga gapas para may the three-dimensional effect. That's what we call texture. It's not really about the roughness or smoothness of the material. It's about the 2 or 3-dimensional element that is found in the material. Interaction, you also have it there. So I'm not sure if you have seen materials nga imugin bubunlot nga diha side tapos ginpapadikit, tapos bunlot na naman nga diha side to reveal the definition. I have seen so many teachers who did that. That's actually what we call interaction. There is a student and material interaction, which is also very important. Or an instructional material, I have seen teachers na ang ira instructional material may da mga blank, ang ira mga kartulina may da mga blank, tapos ito nga blank, they placed a scotch tape there. Tapos, during the discussion, the students are asked to write something on that blank. Tapos, if they proceed to another class, pinapara na lang ni teacher and may scotch tape using an alcohol. So, parang nahihimuhi ang whiteboard actually. Diba? So, that's interaction. There is an interaction between the teacher and the material. Okay? So, we'll now proceed to the pattern. So the first one is what we call alignment. Okay? So mapapansin nyo, meron tayong mga imaginary lines. And according to Heinrich, magiging aligned siya if you put the elements, bisan paano nga size ito nga element. It may be the text, may it be a picture, put that in the upper left corner of the imaginary line. Upper left corner of the imaginary line. So, here. So, mapapansin niyo na ang mga elements ginbutang hiton nga may mga imaginary lines. Diba? So, that is for you to achieve alignment. Okay, let's proceed. All right. So what can you see in the visuals? So the next pattern is shape. According to Heinrich, dapat hit imong instructional material may dako na ma-observe nga shape. May ma-recognize nga shape hit mga bata. Kasi if they remember daw the shape, they will be able to remember the concepts as well. So kung makikita niyo, for example, the water cycle, our teacher created something a circle gihap. So when I would like to retain my information or the information about the water cycle, I remember the circles. Tapos gimbubutan ko ang mga concepts sa nga mga circle. So I think this is also effective. You put a shape, a recognizable shape to your visual material for our students to retain more the concepts. Next, so balance, there are different types of balance. Ano yung binabalance natin dito? We are balancing the different elements of the material. May it be visual, may it be the words, may it be pictures. So, meron tayong tinatawag na formal balance, meron tayong tinatawag na informal balance, but we should not use the imbalance. Pwede tayong gumamit ng informal balance for mga informal topics, pero for formal na mga topics, we need to use the formal balance. Again, balance of mga elements. For example, hit formal balance, assume that those are pictures. Okay? Ng mga squares, assume that those are pictures. So, you can achieve balance if you put it that way, yung mga elements. Okay. So, rule of thirds. Are you familiar of this? May I ask all of you if you are familiar with the rule of thirds? Can you say I, Captain, if you are familiar? If no, so just say no, you are not familiar.
No, sir.
Okay, no. Melvin is not familiar. Okay, so if you check my Instagram account, char. Balit, my pictures, all of my photos, if not all, most of my photos are following the rule of thirds. Okay, just search. Just kidding. But try to look into my my Instagram. Makikita niyo, I'm fond of using rule of thirds. Okay, you may just follow us. Balit. What is rule of thirds? According to photographers, ito yung ginagamit ng mga photographers kasi. So, rule of thirds, ginagamit siya para ma-emphasize lalo yung subject. Kasi if you put the subject at the center, tinatawag ito nilang dead center. It means that it is boring. Parang there's nothing much happening in that image. Okay? Pero, according to Heinrich, kapag ilagay mo yung subject sa mga angles, here, 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 if you put your subject in those angles, mas mai-emphasize daw siya, according to Heinrich. So, how do I... Okay, sige, let's just have this. Example, if you are taking a photo of that woman, makikita nyo na yung kanyang body is emphasized kasi nasa angles siya ng rule of thirds. Alright? So, here, mas nai-emphasize yung subject kasi nasa ginagamitan siya ng rule of thirds. And example here, so if we draw the rule of third line here, we call it the grid line, ini-emphasize ng photo yung mata. That's why nagiging mas effective yung photo. 'Di ba? Nagiging mas dramatic, mas nagiging may effect yung photo. It's not boring kasi it's not in the center. It's not what we call the dead center. So if we go back here, so for example, I am fond of taking a photo of sunrise or sunset. So, for example, you know what horizon is, right? yung nagse-separate sa sky and the water. So for example, this one, I'm not sure if you can see it. Okay, that's the horizon. Ito yung skies. Tapos ilalagay mo yung sun here or here. Mas nagiging dramatic yung photo mo. 'Di ba? Nai-emphasize mo yung sky. Pero if you wish that the water is more emphasized, you put your horizon here. Tapos anin mo sun either here or here. Tapos amoy ni ang dagat. Yes, so that's what we call grid line. That's why if you check my phone, naka-grid line actually it akong phone because I am fond of I am fond of using rule of thirds. Okay? So, yun. Do you like my drawings? Pamine you want it? Okay. 200 pesos pamine na lang sa comments. Anyway. Sige, let's proceed. Another one is style. So we have here a pattern. We are referring to the style, and the style should be according to the level of your students. For the BE Ed students, expect something colorful, diba? But avoid putting unnecessary elements in your instructional material. Okay? So, I have observed some elementary teachers na gumagamit ng mga pictures ni Hello Kitty, meron pang Ben 10, and those are not really that connected to the topic. So only put elements that are connected to the topic. Pag high school naman, minimal yung design. Pag college naman, parang minimal din to no design at all. Okay? So yon, color. So, in deciding what color to choose when you are decorating or you're designing your instructional material, I suggest you use color wheel. When I had a training with my students about PowerPoint, I asked them to come up with a PowerPoint without using a template, and I asked them to come up with their own color combination, and the color combination that they have to choose is based on the color wheel, diba? So, yun. In the color wheel, we have complementary colors, any two colors that lie directly opposite to each other. And analogous colors naman, you will see colors that lie next to each other. For me, I am more of a fan of analogous colors rather than complementary colors, but it would depend on your taste. Meron din tayong tinatawag na mga warm and cool colors. Okay? So next, we look into arrangement. Alright, so let's try to compare the two visuals. So staying healthy yung topic nila, di ba? And which do you prefer? The one to your left or the one to your right? Ano yung mas preferred nyo? The one to your left or the one to your right? Let us look closer to these materials. Let's start looking sa left na material. By the way, our topic is proximity. The rule is, kapag yung text at yung image or yung elements closer, yung interpretation ng tao is connected siya. So if I am an elementary pupil and I will try to look or I will try to observe the bulletin board to your left, pwede ako sumiring, hala, ito yung sliced bread, vegetable nga yan. As in, ito nga isda, fruits. Try to look to your left. The left na material. Diba? In the rule of proximity, the elements that are closer can be recognized as related. Diba? So, Kumitangan na ako ito nga butter, bangin sumira ako nga, liquid it butter. Di ba? Parang makuriya maintindihan, mas malilipat it bata. So, the one that is correct is actually to your right. Kasi, ginharani ang elements na connected. So, ang grains na word, tapos yung picture ng grains are put closer together. That's why, mas madali maintindihan, mas madali makonektan bata. As compared to the left nga parang nagsasasarang kasi ang iya proximity nag-iiba-iba. Okay? I mean, ang iya proximity diri maupay ang kabutang. Ito nga exercise everyday, nahingain naman ito. The one to your left. Exercise everyday, hay man nga rin picturein exercise everyday. Right? So, ginbulaghiya na ngadtuhan right nga material. So, ang nakatuhan right nga material, those are already mga suggestions or tips to stay healthy. Di ba? So, yon. Next. Directionals. We may use directionals such as bullets, arrows, bold type, bright colors on monochromatic page, and so on. Figure ground, contrast can also be considered. Consistency. Consistency is one of those na commonly na mamalian mga teachers kasi we need to be consistent with our placement of our elements from one page of our Manila paper to the next page of our instructional material. Diri nga nagsasarang. So dapat paprihas kung hain an where you will put your heading, where you will put your topics, where you will put the explanation, the images. It should be the same from one page until the last page of the material. Next is legibility. Anong color combination yung pinaka mababasa? Pinaka madaling mabasa? That's actually, aside from black and white, we use yellow and black. Nagpa-pop kasi yung black kapag yellow yung background. That's why mapapansin nyo sa mga signs, okay, that's actually based on the principle of Heinrich, na kapag yellow yung background and dark yung text, mas nai-emphasize yung black. Mas madaling mabasa yung black. That's why mga pedestrian lane, yellow or orange, and then black and white. And most of our traffic signs are using yellow and black. But in instruction, pinaka-legible then is the combination of blue and white. Example is the one you will see in this theme. Black and white, blue and white are also considered a combination that is legible for the students. Okay, so let's try to answer some questions. How will you measure the font of a text in a visual material? It will be according to the measurement of the classroom. Next, why are analogic visuals needed? For the students to make the connection from those concepts that they don't have first-hand experiences. And then give an example of an add appeal element, yung mga nag-grab ng attention ng mga element. So those are considered as add appeal. Okay, so we are done with the visual principles. Okay, so dalawa na yung natapos natin. Congratulations. We still have so many topics. We will proceed sa TPAC after the visual principles. So let's have the TPAC model now. Okay, before we proceed, I'd like to ask those who are in the room kung ano yung better. I mean, which are you better? Are you good with pedagogy or content? Asan ka mas magaling? Pedagogy ba or content? When we say pedagogy, I'm referring to teaching. I'm referring to delivering instruction. That's pedagogy. When we say content naman, your specialization. Alin ka mas magaling? Sa prof-ed or sa major? Parang ganun lang actually yung concept. 'Di ba? So content, yung major mo, pedagogy, yung pagtuturo. Okay? So yon. Maraming nagsasabing content, marami din sa pedagogy. Well, if you ask me, when I was still in college, I am I am mostly pedagogy. Mas na-excel ako sa pedagogy rather than my major. That's why when I applied in LNU, yung napansin ng mga evaluators ko is that I'm better with pedagogy. That's why I was assigned sa Prof Ed. Okay? Sa professional education. But I'm asking this in relation to the TPAC model of color. Okay? Dr. Matthew Collar's TPAC model. And in order for you to be an effective teacher, kailangan mo ng harmony, ng equal competence between your content knowledge and your pedagogy. Diba? Pero some are saying na pag-aaralan naman kasi yung content. Pero kapag pedagogy, it requires your dedication, it requires your passion in teaching, it requires your creativity. That's why there are so many teachers who are so excellent with the content. Ito nga, baltok-baltokan as in content. Pero pagkat to pedagogy, medyo nagkukulang hiya. That's why some students nanonosebleed hini nga mga teachers nga mga super kagagaling hit content. You see, even if you are so good with grammar, if you are so good with concepts in values, or the general knowledge for BEN, kahit napakagaling nyo sa content, if you don't have the pedagogy, you will still not be an effective teacher. That's why you need to develop both. Kapag magaling ka sa content, sa pedagogy, you see you have the heart already of teaching, you have the passion, and you have this confidence in staying on stage, delivering topic to people. If you have that skill already, then okay ka na sa pedagogy. Pero kung content kakulang, you have to exert your effort to update yourself, read, 'di ba? Huwag kang papahuli, baka mas magaling pa yung student mo kaysa sa'yo sa tinuturo mo. It's painful if your students will correct you. But of course, you have to accept na tama yung student if that will be the scenario. Right? So yon, kailangan mo ng balance ng content knowledge and pedagogy. That's why I ask you the question because I'd like you to reflect kung asan yung kailangan yung i-improve. Kapag magaling ka sa content knowledge, I think you have to exert and give more time to your pedagogy. Right? Okay. However, we are already in the 21st century. We are becoming more dependent with technology. That's why we need technological knowledge. You see, this is the problem of our senior teachers, mga senior faculty. Let me just proceed to, The problem with senior faculty is, I'm not saying all, but some senior faculty are rejecting technology. They have this notion that they have produced countless doctors, lawyers, policemen, teachers, and other professionals without using advanced technology. That's why they are staying with the traditional means of teaching. Pero in the generation that we have right now, technological skills is an imperative. Technological knowledge is a requirement. Do you agree? Imagine our senior faculty right now. Actually, my heart goes to empathy to those teachers, mga senior teachers nga nagkukuri in tawon with the kind of new normal that we have in education. In my PhD classes, kaluoy talaga it ako ng ibang nga teachers nga mga senior teachers. That's why as students, we are extending help. We are offering assistance to these kinds of teachers. So, yon, if you wish to be an effective teacher in this generation, you should not just focus with content. You should just not focus with pedagogy. You should also prioritize technology because that's our new normal. That's how our students would like to learn right now. Diba? Our Generation Z students are compatible with technology. That's why kailangan natin maging competent with technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge. That's the whole point of TPAC model. Right? So, yun. Let's try to answer some questions. Give a characteristic of a teacher with pedagogical knowledge. Kapag si teacher magaling sa pedagogy, napakaganda ng kanyang mga activities. You are excited to be with this teacher. Parang walang dull moments with this teacher. Of course, that's actually a high standard. Pero if you are interested with the subject because of the teacher, then the teacher has a pedagogical knowledge. And that's something that we want as teachers, right? What does TPAC model, what does it mean to have TPAC? It means that you will be a whole-rounded teacher, an all-rounded teacher, a holistic teacher, and a successful and effective teacher because you have technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge. Which is the most important? PK, CK, or TK? Pedagogical knowledge, content knowledge, or technological knowledge? The answer is all of them are very important. Without the other one, diba? Without technology or without pedagogy or without content, how will we be able to teach effectively? That's why I challenge all of you to master technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge. Okay? Do not ever say that Prof Ed is not a major subject. Prof Ed is also your major subject. That's where you get your pedagogical knowledge. Your major is your content knowledge. Actually, pedagogical and technological knowledge andyan sa Prof Ed subjects nyo, di ba? But of course, your major subjects will also teach you how to teach your major subject. So, yun. What I'm saying is, in the LET examination, parehas yung value ng major and yung Prof Ed subjects. Okay? So, let's proceed to the next one. We'll now talk about the TIP model. Are you still there? Yeah, thank you so much. We'll now talk about the TIP model. The activity is, have you encountered a situation wherein your teacher was not able to conduct a class because he or she experienced technical glitches? Can you briefly share without mentioning the teacher? Of course, this is not me because natuloy na klase, di ba? This is not me, natuloy that klase. But how about other teachers? Let us not just mention name, but have you experienced like, waray dadaran iya projector, so ayan na lang kita pag klase. Parang ganon. Have you experienced that? When I was still in college, I have this classmate na nagre-report siya. Our subject was English American Literature, if you can still remember that, or if you have taken that subject. We had reportings of topics. We were assigned with several or different literary pieces. Tapos meron akong classmate, na ready na siya and all, but the projector was not compatible with his computer. So he used another computer, pero pag insert niya ng flash drive and when he opened the file, corrupted yung file. So everything was a mess, and it was because of technology. And because of that, nahimo iya nga parang conditional, he almost was eliminated. Almost na siya na-eliminate because of that scenario. As in, nakakabit la talaga hiya because he was able to do good with our final exam. But kung waray niya ka-open niya final exam, sigurado adto hiya nga eliminated just because of technology. This may also happen to us, most especially if we will not follow the TIP model. Well, the TIP model is existing. The TIP model is there in order for us to solve problems when it comes to technology before it actually happens. Right? So, according to Roblayer, sorry, it is supposed to be Roblayer. TIP model or technology integration planning gives a general approach to addressing challenges involved in integrating technology into teaching practices. If you take the let, and if the question is about problems in technology sa teaching, the answer is always TIP model. Okay? So I'm giving you a tip. The answer is TIP model. But this is the TIP model in its entirety. So, yun. There is the reason why it's triangle. There's a reason why it's oblong. Okay? So there are different phases. Phase 1 is to determine the relative advantage. We are referring to the technology. Question for phase 1. Why should you use that technology? Kaya ano magamit ka ng smart TV? Why will you use a cassette? Why will you use a projector? Mag-quiz ka. Gamit mo projector. May da ba relative advantage? Mag-film showing ka. An imo gamit cassette. Tama ba yon? Diba? You have to determine what is advantageous given your topic, given your lesson. So, it should be parallel hindi mo gagamiton nga mga material. So, even if you have a projector, it doesn't mean that the projector will be used all throughout the academic year. You should always determine if it is advantageous to your lesson. That is phase 1. Effective ba inihiya nga material for my lesson? Yes or no? Phase 2, we have to decide on objectives and assessment. This is now our lesson planning. Okay? Phase 2 and Phase 3 is our lesson planning. How should I make sure that students will learn? That is our concern in Phases 2 and Phase 3. Phase 3, design integration strategies. So, Phase 2, more on lesson planning tayo. We set the objectives, di ba? And the taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy, we consider here the audience behavior condition degree. If you know that, it's very important for your lesson. Okay? I mean, for your lesson plan. Tapos, kung may na nagtutdo ayuhan lesson planning, it is very important that your objectives and assessments are parallel. Nakuha? Dapat makikitaan ang imo objective, makikitaan ang imo assessment ang imo objective. Dapat connected ang imo objective ngayon assessment. Kung di rin imo ito niya i-assess, ayaw ito nga daig binutang nga imo objective. That's phase 2. Phase 3 naman, design integration strategies. Paano mo gagamiton ang projector, ang TV, or ang cassette kan imo pagtutdo? That's phase 3. Phase 4 naman is prepare the instructional environment. How do you do this? Imo igti-test ang projector, imo igti-test ang device compatibility, you will test the internet connection. Okay? So yun, you go to your classroom, set everything up, do a demo, right? And once you are done, you evaluate. You do the teaching. After nimo mag-teach, imo i-evaluate. Naging effective ba nagpagtutdo or waray? That's why it's arrow up, triangle up, kasi kapag diri effective an imo integration plan, diri effective an imo strategies, you go back to the oblong. And ito niya nga cycle, you will see different arrows there kasi pwede ka bumalik ka phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Within that oblong is a cycle. Magbabalik-balik ka nga da hangtod maging effective ka. That's the essence of the TEEP model. That's the whole point of the TEEP model. For example, when our edtech class last semester, last semester before the pandemic, I conducted an online game with my students. So it was the name of the game is Rocket Race. Okay, I'm going to give them a question. Tapos maansiran nga ni nira, ma-move an ira rocket. Ang pinakauna nga maka-finish line nga rocket, amo ang group nga magdadaog. That was our game. Basically, that was my quiz. Naginhimo ko nga game. Alright? But I need to use a technology. I used Socrative as an application for that activity. Pero what happened? The internet connection in the college building 102 was not fast enough for the activity. So nagsayop na ako nga daan. Phase 1, balik kita. Phase 1, magamit ako Socrative. Advantageous ba hiya? Very much. Based on my experience, it's really very advantageous. Phase 2, decide on objectives and assessment. So nag-lesson na ako nga di. In my phase 2, I just referred to my syllabus. Kasi college instructors and professors are not required for lesson plans kasi meron kaming syllabus. Phase 3, I already planned things. Kung saan ako gagamitin ng Socrative, I planned it to be used as my assessment tool. Phase 4, I tried to check. Kumadto mismo ako College Building 102 during my vacant period and tried it myself. I used a demo account and tried it. It worked. And then I implemented it. I implemented the plan, but it was not successful. Waray na dayunan amon quiz because of internet connection. So, mabalik ako ngadto. Ano na akong problem? My problem was phase 4. Prepare instructional environment. I did not prepare well. Kaya pagkadto ko, ako la ang tao. Siyempre, waray mag-aagragaw ng internet, di ba? So, what happened when we logged in, when we connected to the internet, sa college building, yon, pati ang teacher nagkuri pagsulod. So after that, gin-revise ko, I went back to phase 4 and delivered again the activity, and afterwards naging effective na siya. So I proceeded to the next lesson already. So ginpaludan ko ang akong phone, tapos gin-hotspot ko hairatanan, and yun, we all have a reliable internet connection. So TEEP model is really very good. It's a very good tool to make sure that no technical glitches will happen in your lesson. Did you get it? So to answer the questions, when should TEEP model be utilized? If we want to make sure, again, that there will be no technical glitches in our lesson. If problem persists in the evaluation, what will you do based from the TEEP model? You will go back. Okay, you will go back to the phases. Tapos, give an example of a problem that may be observed in the phase 4, prepare the instructional environment. Amad to. Diri ngayon compatible an imo projector, an imo audio, diri ngayon nadara ha iyo Google Meet, di ba? So, yon. Those are examples of preparations for phase 4. Yan, tapos nakitahin usa ka row. Congratulations, everyone. Okay, we are done with Dale's cone of experience, visual principles, TPAC model, and of course, the TIP model, or the technology integration plan. Are we now ready to proceed to the SAMR model? Another activity. Can you share an activity given by your teacher which you think is innovative and unique? Para activity nga waray mo pa ka-encounter in your entire existence. Okay. I'm not sure if this is unique, but in my previous years of teaching EdTech, I asked my students to have a demonstration teaching using virtual reality boxes. So we did that, and actually what I also tried with my English majors nga EdTech, they had tutorial sessions with my Vietnamese students. So nag-tutorial herahin grammar and other aspects of the language. So that's their demonstration teaching, tutoring mga foreign language learners. Ano pa ba ang akong ginhimo? Which I think is creative. I asked my students to come up with comics. I think it's unique. I asked them to narrate a problem in technology in teaching by creating a comic book. Tapos, ang comic book, ira iti-take and picture ang mga characters ang comic book, tapos ira i-edit para mahimo hiya nga bagayan comic book. Parang ganon. So, I think that's also unique. What else? Am I praising my own self? Ano pa ba? Yeah, because I came to realize those activities just by looking into the SAMR model. So it's not me, it's actually the model. What else? Sige, siguro yun lang muna yung na remember ko ng mga activities. But let's go into the SAMR model. Okay. So in the SAMR model, it is actually divided into enhancement and transformation. What's the difference between enhancement and transformation? Si enhancement, from the word enhance, ini-enhance niya lang yung usual or common na activity. For example, yung role-playing na sinasabi kanina ni Miss Uribe, pwede siyang ma-enhance, pwede siyang maging substitution or augmentation. For example, instead of performing it in class, nag-video shoot ka mo and your role play, so nagiging substitution siya. Okay? Nag-video shoot ka mo, gumamit kasi ka mo yung technology. So SAMR is actually enhancing and transforming class activities by using technology. So in under enhancement, you have substitution and augmentation. So sa substitution, technology acts as a direct substitute with no functional change. There is no much of a change, pero nag-integrate ka la in technology. Augmentation naman, merong gradual change or merong maliit na change when it comes to the activity. Sa transformation naman, hindi na siya yung usual activity, parang na-transform na siya. Modification, technology allows for significant task redesign. Redefinition naman, technology allows for the creation of new tasks. Modification, task redesign. Redefinition naman is, this is a novel, this is a new task. For example, this is the most common example. If you are an English teacher, any teacher na lang, magpapa-essay ka because that's the most important thing kasi you should know your students first. Diba? Magpapa-essay activity ka, the essay activity is entitled Introducing Me. So the essay will revolve in introducing yourself by writing. Okay? So again, the activity is an essay writing. The topic is Introducing Me. Now, for the substitution, anong mangyayari sa essay? Diba? The usual essay is you will write it on a piece of paper and submit it to the teacher. Pero, nagiging substitution siya if you encode the essay using the computer, print that, and submit it to the teacher. Bakit substitution siya? Kasi you are able to produce the output using a technology. Pero, it is still an essay. I hope you got that. Pagdating naman sa augmentation, instead of an essay, nagiging pick-to-essay na siya. What I mean by pick-to-essay is, instead of just text, meron ka pang mga reinforcement na mga photos. For example, I am blah blah blah, I am living in Eastern Samar. So meron kang picture ng Eastern Samar. Parang ganon. So merong combination ng text and picture. Okay? So that's what we call augmentation. Because in a normal essay, hindi ka naman talaga naglalagay ng photo eh. But because of the capability of the technology, which is just easy for you to attach a photo, so nagiging pick-to-essay na siya instead of just an essay. So picture and text, you create something introducing me, a topic on introducing me, submit that to the teacher. So those activity, the essay, printed essay, and then pick-to-essay that is also printed, those are enhancement. Those are still essays. Pero na-enhance siya because of technology. Now, how about modification? Sa modification naman, nagiging task redesign na siya. Diba? Introducing me by not anymore printing, by using a much more advanced technology. We now use internet. You are asked to create a blog account, tapos i-post an introducing me na essay to your blog. And link naman, imo i-submit ha teacher. No more printing, no more paper, paperless na tayo. You just submit to me the link and I will be able to read your blog. Diba? Pwede mo pa itong boot nga in background music while nagbabasa ka ng blog. That's modification. Pansin niyo, enhancement, essay, printed picture essay. Pagka diya transformation, it's not anymore an essay, it's a blog. Nakuha niyo? And in redefinition, may na task redesign. And not task redesign, but new task. It's a novel task. So sa redefinition, instead of blog, B-L-O-G, pwede mo i-ask it mo student na maghimuhin vlog or video vlog. And they will upload that on YouTube and i-ask mo na lahayera ang link. Waray pa vlog nga activity before. But because of technology, because of SAMR model, we are able to come up with a new novel activity, which is the vlog, right? I'm also teaching DepEd teachers, by the way. I am a teacher on 21st century for DepEd teachers under Simeo. And the first thing that I ask them is a vlog. They will introduce themselves using vlog. They will upload that and then they will send to me the link. Tapos ira pa dapat i-edit para mas maging maupayan ira vlog. 'Di ba? When you vlog, kailangan mo pa ng video editing. Magpupanbutan ka pa in mga animations, mga effects, mga background music, and so on. Right? So, ang mo iniit gamit is SAMR model. You are being encouraged to come up with new and novel activities. Okay, so let's answer some questions. How is the SAMR model arranged? Let's go back. It is arranged according to the level of change sa task, sa level of redesign of the task. Okay? Next question. Differentiate transformation from enhancement. We already answered that kanina. And give the role of technology in the redefinition level. Of course, the technology will help you come up with new activities. Okay. Hindi pa pala tayo halfway. But thank you so much for your II captains. Madali na laini because most of the topics are just, short lang naman. So we can still finish before 12:30. Thank you so much for bearing with me. So team model na tayo. Technology, integration, matrix. I hope you will see the matrix kasi medyo buti ang iya image. But let's have this activity first. What advanced technology tool do you think will most likely be used in the classroom? Ano daw ulit? Kaya una, di ba? Puros kita projector. Yan na naman, puros na kita smart TV. What do you think will be the trending technology tools in the future? Any wild guesses? Kindly type them sa ating comments. Anything. Sige, I'll give you a minute to think of a technology tool that may be widely used in the future. Smart TV, LNU, if you go back, you will really be excited kasi damo na mga improvements when it comes to technology. Sayang kasi nag-pandemic. I actually proposed an EdTech laboratory and it was granted last year. Pwede na untaad to niyo gamiton this year. Pwede na kunta kita mag-explorehan mga interactive boards. Ito nga nga magsusugad-sugad ka nala, tapos madako net size, mastering ka nala, next na. So, it was part of the proposal and it was approved, and I have with me the technology already. I was also granted with the EdTech lab is also granted with laptops. So, ang mga students nga waray computers, masayo na launta. But, nag-pandemic man, siguro for the next batches na lang ng students. So, meron tayong digital tables. That's good. Okay. Let's talk about technology integration matrix. Voice recognition, that's also good. Mavelyn or Myvelyn. Sige, this is, sana nakikita niyo. This is the technology integration matrix. Okay? So, this is really very important. Don't you know, in the licensure exams for teachers, makatuloin hiya nag-appear. Masayon la pagod, and an iba wa rin nagpaka-answer kay dire kuno hira maaramhan team model. But and kung mga students nga nag-take, for sure they are able to answer because it's actually part of the syllabus. So, let me try to zoom Yun. Let's try to focus first on the levels. Okay? So, ang mga questions nga to actually more on the levels. The entry level, adoption level with letter O, adaptation level with letter A, infusion level, and then transformation level. Okay? Entry level, adoption level, adaptation level, infusion level, and transformation level. So, again, these are levels of integration, technology integration. Ano't imo level of technology integration? First, if the teacher is using PowerPoint, projector, or TV in teaching, what level is the teacher? That is entry level pa lang. Okay? Entry level. Feeling pagod it iba nga, oy, nagpo-projector ako, oy, naghihinambog na pagod because, oy, naka-smart TV baya ako. Right? Naghihinambog na. Pero, if we refer to the same model, that's actually the lowest level. That's just entry level. If you use technology to deliver curricular content, if you use technology to discuss the topic, that is entry level pa lang. How about the adoption level with letter O? According here, the teacher directs students in the conventional and procedural use of technology tools. So ang mga bata, gintutudduan han teacher, han step-by-step process, han technology. For example, in a computer subject, gintutudduan kamo kung paano pag-on han monitor, pag-on han CPU, pag-connect han USB, di ba? So those are step-by-step process, and that's what we call adoption level. Step-by-step usage of technology. How about adaptation level? Sa adaptation level naman, you are guiding the students. Okay? According here, the teacher facilitates students in exploring and independently using technology tools. Facilitate students in exploring and independently using technology tools. So, the teacher here serves as the guide. So the students are doing it, parang they are using the computer or the technology tool firsthand, pero may guidance ang teacher. That's adaptation level. Infusion level naman, there is no more assistance coming from the teacher, and the students are given task, tapos hiranit bahala kung ano nga application, ano nga technology tool ang naangay hiton nga task. Transformation naman, according here, the teacher encourages the innovative use of technology tools. Technology tools are used to facilitate higher order learning activities that may not have been possible without the use of technology. So, nagiging part na ang technology, iton na technology in your daily interaction with your students. For example, if you are doing blended learning, di ba? So, every week may mo online class, tapos may gahapon ka mo face-to-face in class. So, na-encourage ang students to nare-require ang students to use technology tools in a weekly basis. Tapos ang imong mga tasks pang igahatag, mga na-require in advanced na level of technology use. So that's transformation level. So going back sa entry level, for example, magtutudlo ka imong mga students how to use PowerPoint. By the way, I'll be conducting a training on using PowerPoint soon. So the entry level is the teacher. The teacher is using Smart TV to talk about the history of PowerPoint, the interface of PowerPoint, and so on. Adoption level naman, gintutudduan ng teacher ang step-by-step process kung ginaano pag-open, kung ginaano pag-save. So there is a demonstration and the students are following it. Okay? And then, adaptation naman, pinapabayaan na ang mga bata. That's the teacher will say, okay class, come up with a PowerPoint presentation with 2 slides. If you have a question, raise your hand and I will answer your question. So, pinapabayaan na ang students maghimo, pero if they need help, the teacher will still be there to assist the student. That's adaptation level. Infusion level naman, masaring ang teacher, okay class, I'd like you to come up with a presentation. Presentation about your topic. Tapos ang teacher, dili na magayayakan kung PowerPoint ba gagamiton, kung any other presentation software. So the students now will decide kung ano nga software it applicable for the task. That's infusion level. So there is this level of mastery already. Tapos transformation level naman, consistent na nagamit ang mga students in PowerPoint, okay, in creating instructional material, for example. So there is this consistency of the use of technology. So nagiging higher level na and use of technology in the class. So, this is what we call the different levels of technology integration. From just using it as a way of discussing until the use of it in a daily basis or in a consistent manner. That's transformation level. And in the licensure examinations for teacher, the question there was, Teacher Maria daw was tasked to attend a seminar in Manila, but still she conducted an activity using an online platform. What level of technology integration does Maria have? So the answer there is, of course, transformation level. Diba? Higher level of technology integration na kasi siya. Okay? How about the characteristics of the learning environment? So, active learning, of course, learning by doing. Collaborative learning, learning by working with others. Diba? There is a give and take relationship in processing concepts. Meron din tayong brainstorming sa collaboration. Learning by connecting concepts naman sa constructive learning. Diba? So, example dito, if you are going to teach your students a learning management system such as Edmodo, are you familiar with Edmodo? Pwede nimo gamiton ang Facebook. Diba? Pwede nimo gamiton ang Facebook as an activator of schema. Iko-connect nimo ang Facebook ka Edmodo, mas pero parehas sila actually ang Edmodo ngayon Facebook. Parehas sila bagan blue and color, aadi nga ang home button, and so on. So that's constructive learning. You connect something that they do not know to what you connect what they know to what they do not know. What they know is Facebook, what they do not know is Edmodo. You connect that, mababaruhirahan Edmodo. That's actually constructive learning. Authentic learning naman, learning by experiencing real work, diba? They create something and so on. Goal-directed naman, learning by, of course, planning. That's why it's very important for teachers to give assessment and, of course, provide rubrics, most especially for mga product and performance-based assessment. Now, how do we use the matrix? So, yeah, how do we use the matrix? I have a scenario. The scenario is the students are asked to produce a digital romance movie. Again, the students are asked to produce a digital poster about a romance nga movie as a pre-activity to their topic on Romeo and Juliet. So, gina-ask ang students to come up with movie poster of a romance nga movie. So, movie poster of a romance movie as a pre-activity to their topic on Romeo and Juliet. So, what is the level of technology integration? So, first is they are asked to come up with a digital poster. Okay? Walang sinasabi doon kung ano yung gagamitin nila. So, according here sa infusion level, the teacher provides the learning context and the students choose the technology tools to achieve the outcome. So, bahala na yung student kung ano yung gagamitin nila. That's why we will dub this as an infusion level. Now, that's the level of technology integration. The characteristics naman, sabi dito, as a pre-activity to their topic on Romeo and Juliet. Para mas maintindihan ng students yung concept of the story of Romeo and Juliet, they need to connect that to a romance nga movie. So that's why it's called constructive learning. So, aton hiya igma-map in fusion level. So in fusion level, yung technology integration and constructive learning siya. So, the team, the level of technology integration dito is constructive infusion. This is how you will use the team model. I mean the team matrix, technology integration matrix. So in fusion level, constructive learning, you map that, constructive infusion, yung activity na yon, which was to come up with a digital poster of a romance movie as a pre-activity to their topic on Romeo and Juliet. Okay, so this is how you will use the technology integration matrix. Again, entry level, the teacher is just the one using the technology. This is now the summary, okay? The teacher is just the one using technology. Ginagamit niya sa pag-discuss ng lesson. Adoption level, tinuturuan na niya yung students sa step-by-step process ng paggamit ng technology na yon. Okay. Sa adoption level yon, adaptation level naman, the teacher is pinababayaan na yung mga students, pero the teacher is still there whenever the students will seek help in exploring the technology. So adaptation level, parang si students na yung gumagawa dito, nag-i-explore dito, pero andyan pa rin si teacher kung kailangan ng students. Sa infusion level naman, there is this mastery na talaga kasi the teacher will just give the students an activity tapos yung students na yung bahala kung anong technology tool yung appropriate para sa activity. And then transformation level naman, from the word transform, your classroom is not just the ordinary traditional classroom because you have a consistent use of advanced technological activities in your class. Okay? So for example, nagpapa-e-portfolio ka, right? Consistent yun kasi every now and then yung student pupunta sa website para mag-input ng kanilang mga activities. Diba? So yun, transformation level. Okay, I hope you are able to get that. Kung hindi, you may still read some more about the team model, most especially that this will for sure appear in the licensure exams for a teacher. So we are now in Bloom's digital taxonomy. So let's just skip the activity para tayo matapos. Okay, so this is Bloom's digital taxonomy. So kung mapapansin nyo, it is a comparison of the different versions of the Bloom's cognitive domain. So sa una, knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, mapapansin nyo na this is noun. Knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, these are noun. And according to the student of Bloom, kailangan kasi when we set objective or outcomes, kailangan merong action. That's why, ginawa siyang remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Tapos, nag-change. Instead of evaluating ang highest domain, highest level, ginawa na siyang second to the highest, and ginawang creating yung synthesis. That's the highest already. Synthesis kasi is putting together what you have learned And then creating means what you have learned, you put it, you apply it, you create something out of what you have learned. That's creating, that's why that's the highest level of cognitive domain. Now, if we reiterate this and come up with a version that accommodates the technological advances in this generation, so ginawang Bloom's digital taxonomy ang version na to. So instead of remembering, doing, we have connecting, applying, conceptualizing, evaluating, creating, and then sharing. So the highest domain already is sharing. That's why it is very important for you to think before you click. Kasi whatever you shared, there is actually a big impact to you. Kung if you shared something negative, mababash ka, di ba? If you share something nga mali, award, you will be stormed by trolls, di ba? So, kasi kapag i-share mo na siya, ready for publication, for publishing, it should have been its finest form. Right? So, an imo gin create, kailangan ito niya na refine na before you actually post it. And makikita natin nga these are actually some suggestion activities. So, these are some verbs, sample verbs, kasi you will start kasi your outcomes or your objectives with verbs. For example, masing ka, recognize the differences between this and that. List down all the heroes in this period. Parang ganon. So, ito yung ginagamit na parang pag-recognize kung anong level. So, these are the verbs. And then, these are some of the activities that are actually advanced na, using advanced technology. For example, some activities na parang SAMR na din to, na level, redefinition level na siya. Kasi, these are some activities na hindi pa present before. For example, subscribing, tweeting, di ba? Tweeting, it's an activity by using a social media platform. Uploading is another activity. Cracking. Sorry. What else? You have blog commenting, blogging, programming, filming, diba? These are new activities. Okay? So this is just a guide for you to come up with new, fresh activities. So to continue, this is a more refined version of the Bloom's digital taxonomy. Okay, let us not skip this activity. What do you think is the best app for teaching? May it be Android or iOS? What do you think is the app for teaching? Anong application sa Android or sa iPhone mo na for you magagamit mo for teaching? Can you comment them? Anyone? Facebook? Okay, that's good. Gmail, that's also one to communicate to the students. How about the others? In my case, I am using Edmodo. What else? Socrative. Merong Messenger. Ano pa? Okay, these are those that I remember nga ginagamit ko. Okay, thank you so much for your responses. What I will do with the pedagogy wheel is that I'm just going to walk you through. Okay, I have provided you with a PDF file. This is actually the 5th version. And 4.1 version, which I used before, and iyala actually ginagamit is Android. I mean iOS. This time, may na actually for Android, which is very good kasi most of the students are Android user in the Philippines. So, paano mo iniya gagamiton? You have here QR codes so that you can download this. Okay. Tapos, adi pa yung mga QR codes. May dahito hiya mga references ng mga QR codes. And these are some criteria These are information about the author here. I'm just walking you through kasi I think this is a very good tool for you for your lesson planning. Tapos, ano yung mga theories na ginamit dito? Merong attribution theory, merong Bloom's taxonomy, merong theories on motivation, merong SAMR model na in-include as well. So, mapapansin nyo, sorry. Okay. Mapapansin nyo, sa remembering and understanding, nasa substitution yung kanyang level of activities. Substitution siya. Tapos, ito yung verbs na gagamitin nyo sa pag-construct ng outcomes or ng mga objectives. Tapos, these are sample activities. Diba? Amazing. You don't need any more to, you will not have any more difficulties kasi ito na, nandito na lahat. And the most amazing part is, with these activities, meron paired na din siya ng mga software or ng mga apps in this site. If you have the PDF file copy, you just click the app, tapos mapupunta ka na sa Play Store for downloading. Okay? That is how amazing this is. This is the lower level ng mga activities. If you will proceed here, sorry. Okay. So sa understanding naman, you will see there the action verbs, the activities, and the application. So parallel na siya. Hindi ka na mahihirapan na i-connect yung verb, yung outcomes, yung kanyang activities, pati yung software na gagamitin mo. Okay? Andito na lahat. And for applying level, augmentation na siya. Sa analysis, modification na siya sa SAMR model. And sa redefinition, meron tayo for evaluation and creation. Or creating, evaluating and creating. Okay? So for example, sa creating, yan. So for creating, these are the action verbs: produce, integrate, manage, adapt, animate, diba? Negotiate, video blog. Ito yung magsisimula sa objectives niyo. And then, for your activities, you may refer here. Meron ditong mga suggested activities, and to complement the activities, andito rin yung mga software na for creation or for creating and for redefinition level. Okay? So, yun. This is just a tour. I just would like you to be aware that this exists. This is actually a one-stop shop for teachers in planning their lesson plan or in crafting their lesson plan. Let's proceed to the next one, the Assure model. So what is Assure model? So Assure model is an instructional systems design process that was modified to be used by teachers in the regular classroom. The ISD process is one in which teachers and trainers can use to design and develop the most appropriate learning environment for their students. So Assure stands for Analyze Learners, State Objectives, Select Methods, Media, and Materials, Utilize Media and Materials, Require Learner Participation, and Evaluate and Revise. Okay, so this is how it looks like. By the way, Assure model is just similar to a lesson plan, actually. Parang lesson plan lang talaga siya. Okay? Kasi sa lesson plan, nag-a-analyze ng learners. You analyze a learner. Okay? And then, you state the objectives in your lesson plan. Tapos, You require learner participation and then you evaluate and revise. Yung pinagkaiba lang, wait lang. Okay, yung pinagkaiba lang sa typical na lesson plan is that yung Assure model is a lesson plan that focuses on the materials you are using. That's the reason why meron tayong part ng lesson plan na select methods, media materials, utilize media materials. So itong dalawa, these two parts are those that differentiates lesson plan to an Assure model. Okay? So, analyze learners, meron sa lesson plan. State objectives, meron din sa lesson plan. Itong dalawa wala. Kasi these two, are those na nakaka-focus tayo sa technology or sa instructional material na ginagamit ni teacher. Okay? So, select methods, media materials. This is where you produce your material. And then utilize media materials. This is where you use your material. Okay, so that is an Assure model. In my previous classes, I actually asked them to come up with a lesson plan that is Assure-based na lesson plan. So where are we now? I actually forgot something. Hindi ko siya na-include. This is actually equally important. We call this the sections model. I hope you are still there. Sections model stands for, by the way, before sections model, actions model yung tawag sa kanya. So, dinevelop siya, naging actions model. Sections model is very important in assessing the effectiveness of technology in a school or in a classroom. For example, let us try to evaluate the effectiveness of Facebook as a learning tool natin, as a learning management system. Are you still there? Kindly comment, say something, so that I will know if you are still there.
Ay, Captain.
Okay.
Hi,
Sige.
Captain.
So we will try to evaluate Facebook kasi pati sa BEd gumagamit sila ng Facebook as a learning management system. First, students. Compatible ba si Facebook sa students? The answer is yes. Right? There are studies, there are surveys which say na most of our learners have Facebook account. So, yun. And there are also studies which are saying na yung Generation Z, that's the generation where you belong, you are fond of using social media. So, pasok ba siya sa student? The answer is yes. Ease of use. Madali ba tong gamitin para sa mga students? The answer is very much. Very easy. I-compare natin sa Moodle. Di ba mas madaling gamitin yung Facebook? Because that's an interface that you are already familiar. Cost. Does it require you to pay anything? No. Facebook is for free. In fact, meron tayong tinatawag na free data sa Facebook. That's why it is still more accessible even if you don't pay anything for your internet fee. Next, teaching and learning. Does it support teaching and learning? Of course. Diba? I uploaded materials for video discussions. Tapos nagko-comment kayo. Tapos we have an interaction there. So, teaching and learning can still happen in Facebook. So, check siya. Interaction to promote active learning. As what I said, connected siya sa teaching and learning. There is an interaction that supports teaching and learning. So, correct siya. Sa organization naman, sinusuportahan ba ng LNU yung paggamit ng Facebook? The answer is, okay lang. I mean, they are not against it, but they are not also promoting it kasi yung pinopromote ng LNU is Moodle. Okay? So, parang neutral lang sa organization. Sa novelty naman, does it help you come up with new activities? The answer is yes. Mas napapadali ba yung teaching and learning because of Facebook? The answer is yes. So, as you can see, sections model Wait lang. Okay. So as you can see, sections model is parang checklist siya to evaluate the effectiveness of technology in the classroom or in the school. So tinitingnan niya yung aspect ng students, okay? Compatible ba siya sa characteristic ng students? Ease of use, madali ba siyang gamitin ng mga bata? Cost, hindi ba siya nagre-require ng amount for the students to pay? Teaching and learning, nagsusupport ba siya ng instruction? That is yes. Interaction, is there a way for students to interact? Pwede. Comments, Facebook Live, Messenger. So pwede. Sinusuportahan ba siya ng school administration? That's what we refer the organization. As I said, neutral lang. They are not promoting it, but they are not against it as well. Novelty, does it allow new novel activities? Yes. Speed, mas napapadali ba yung teaching and learning because of Facebook? The answer is also yes. So, pasar ba ang Facebook according to the sections model? The answer is definitely yes. Okay, so let's have the ADDIE model. So ADDIE model is just a different version of the Assure model. Pero parehas la actually hihit Assure model. Analyze, design, develop, implement, evaluate. So lesson planning gyapon niya nga na-focushan instructional material, which is the develop phase. Analysis of the learners, designing of the lesson plan, tapos didi naman ang IMs. Tapos didi naman ang teaching. Tapos of course, evaluate. So that's just an ADDIE model. That's just a different version of lesson plan that is similar to an Assure model. Gania's 9 events of instruction. Okay, so you can see there. By the way, when Ganye's 9 events of instruction was introduced to us by our professor when I was in college, I've been a fan of this and ito yung ginagamit ko whenever I do reports. That's why nag-i-excel ako when it comes to reporting because I follow this. Okay, so this is my guide. And this has become my guide as well in my demonstration teaching and in conducting classes. So first is to gain attention. How do you get the attention of learners? Gain attention tayo. Gain attention is very important kasi you can never start if the students are not ready. Gaining the attention is preparing the students for the lesson, preparing the students for the session. Okay? So there are different ways to get the attention of the learners. May da iba, based on my field study, may dako teacher or cooperating teacher nga na-raise nga niihin usa nga kamot, usa nga tudlo, it means that the students have to raise their right hand. Kapag duha nga fingers na kitaon han teacher, the students need to raise both of their hands. Kapag sumiring na ang teacher, tulo na nga kamot, the students need to stand up. Okay? So no need for teacher to say anything. So amula ato hiya, fingers la niya an iya reference for the students to get the attention or to get the attention of the students. So you need to come up with your own strategies to get the attention of the learners. May dagihapon iba, Dr. Tinasas for the English majors, the way she get the attention of the learners is by asking memory gems. Before we start the class, a student need to recite a line coming from their favorite literary piece. That's what we call memory gem. They have to memorize it, they have to explain it, and that's the way for our teacher to get the attention of the learners. So there are so many ways to get the attention of the learners. Okay? Next is inform learners of the objectives. This is also very important for the student to set expectations. Pero, ang iba, ang era kasi ginbubutang, ang era na katon lesson pan, copy-paste na doon slide. That is not supposed to be done kasi that's the language of a teacher. Kailangan niyo i-paraphrase. For example, in this lesson, We will talk about this and that. Expect that at the end of the lesson, there will be a writing activity to apply what you have learned on this. So that is your objective. That is your outcome. Diba? And that is not the language used by the teacher. That is parang translate nimo into the language nga maiintindihan mga bata. So it is very important to inform the learner of their objectives. Next, touching their prior learning. This is activating their schema. This is under the constructivism perspective na you pair something that they do not know with something that they know in order for them to learn what they do not know. That's constructivism. Prior learning is very important kasi it will help the students connect to the new concept. Okay? So you have to be very creative with your motivation. This is the motivation part, actually. The motivation part that is supposed to be related to the topic. Okay? The next one there is present the content. Present the content is this is where you discuss, but in discussing, you need to have strategies para it mga students aadahain mo all throughout. For example, when I do presentations, sometimes I put numbers and may akong mga students naka-assign hin number. If a number will appear, you have to explain the slide. So that's another way of making your discussion interactive. Another one is questions. Di ba ini nga activity nga akong ginhimo, every topic may dako ginhatag nga activity. That is another way for me to make sure that the students are still there. Interacting with me is an indication that they are with me. So in presenting content, you just don't have to discuss, you have to do more and get the attention of the learner. Provide guidance. Provide guidance is this is now trying to close the gap. Kung may da pa diri na intindihan it mga bata, this is the time for you to clear things out. Okay? So, for example, maghahatag kahin task, tapos ikaw ang nag-answer han task. Ako ha? Again, imon naghatag kahin task about the concept, tapos ikaw ang nag-answer han task, tapos you explained why you got that answer. Tapos practice, you let the students answer on their own, you provide an activity, tapos feedback is very important. Kapag damo-damuan it imo students, you may provide a general feedback. And then assess performance, tapos you may add enhance retention and transfer to the job. So in here, you may now give the students a graded activity. Hindi hiya nga mga activities waray pa inihira grades. Okay? It may da grade inihiya. Enhance retention and transfer to the job. This is now the application of the concept. Kasi nga di, sa practice, they are just doing it kasi the teacher will still provide feedback para mas mabaro pa ang bata. And performance assessment, assess performance is the one that is graded. Tapos pwede gihapon graded and enhance retention and transfer to the job. In this part, pwede ka maghatag hin assignment or additional activity. Again, ungraded inihiya nga assess performance. Pwede graded gihapon and enhance retention and transfer to the job. This is just an additional activity. Okay? So the last topic was about Muriel's principles. Actually, parang reminder lahiya eh. Diba? The first reminder here is acquire knowledge and skill in the context of real-world problems or tasks. So contextualization is the key. Okay, example. You need to really connect things to the reality. If you are a math teacher or if you are an elementary teacher teaching basic math, and imo, for example, magpapa-compute ka in distance, mastering ka. Class, I want you to compute the distance from Santo Niño Church to Astrodome, riding a multi-cab, and the multi-cab is running 20 kilometers per hour. Diba? So, mas nakaka-connect ang bata kasi maaram ang bata kung hayan ng Santo Niño, high in Astrodome, tapos they are familiar with a multicam. So putting it in a real life situation, mas maiintindihan it bata. Tapos, recall or apply existing knowledge and skill as a foundation for new skills. This is again the concept of constructivism. Your motivation should always start the class. Your motivation should always set the tone of the class. Kailangan creative, kailangan it imo motivation something that is interesting and always connected to the topic para ma-apply ang constructivism. Okay? In your lesson plan, for my students who are here, I will also focus on your motivation. I will try to see how creative you are in making sure that your motivation is unique and interesting for the students. Okay? Kasi ito nagsiset hit tone eh. Diba? So yun. I just remembered when I was in Vietnam, I was asked by my cooperating teacher to talk about the concepts of economics. I'm an English major pero ang gimpatudduha akong economics. So nag-ask lahiyahin favor because she was to travel somewhere and I was asked to handle economic subject, which I accepted. And before I started the lesson, ang akong motivation was naghimo ako hin mga parang kanan loto nga ni iya nga cards. Tapos I asked my students to shade kung ano era identify nga numbers. Tapos naghimo ako hin bagan ginpipik nga bowl. Tapos I identified kung hinit magdadaog, kung hinit lotto winners. And I printed a check worth $100,000. Tapos we identified kung hino nagdaog, ang nagdaog yung pakadiko ha front, and then I gave the check. I said congratulations, you won an imaginary check worth $100,000. Now the question is, what will you do with your money? Tapos I proceed with, okay, thank you so much. So our topic for this day is about a concept of economics. So ginconnect ko na hiyahan topic. Diba? So yun, yeah, that's also related to association and accommodation. So you need to be very creative. I also remember when I was asked to demonstrate a pastoral poetry, and come live with me and be my love, and basta sugat ito niya nga poem. I forgot the title. Basta niya counterpart is the nymph's reply to. Again, I forgot the title, but it's actually a pastoral poetry, and it was actually a poem about love. And so before I started the lesson, nagpa-horoscope ako. I just came up with my own horoscope by using PowerPoint. By just using PowerPoint, may daging click-clickan akon mga classmates who are my students. Tapos ang nagkakagawas ng mga readings and horoscope was actually about love. So after the reading of horoscope, I asked them, what's the theme? Ano yung common denominator ng mga readings nyo? The answer was, it's about love. So I connected it. Okay, so this morning or in this session, we will also talk about love. We will expound what we know about love by talking about this pastoral poetry. Okay, see the impact of motivation. So it should be something that is creative. It should be something that is unique. It should be something that is interesting. Okay? Number 3 is also observe a demonstration of the knowledge and skill to be learned. So modeling is very important. Use their newly acquired knowledge and skill to solve new problems or carry out tasks. That's providing them with an activity. And then integration, also applying concepts to real life events or scenario. So yun, this is the Muriel's principle. Muriel's principle are just, tips and guides in order for you to be effective in your instruction. And for that, I think we are able to cover everything. Okay, this is what we call an exit ticket. So before you leave the room, I'd like you to share briefly. Um, I would like you to share briefly what you have learned that is very, very important for you. Okay, what remained in you after the session? Anong imo pinaka-importante nga nabaruan after the session? Thank you so much, everyone.